Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about the trial area. I'm going to start by highlighting some of the issues that this mode has, and there are quite a few, and then I'm going to share with you the teams I used for the last clears, and also discuss some alternatives that you can try to run if you don't have the units that I have. So that's the plan for the video. Let's start immediately with the first issue that I think is not just for trial area, but is just in general with this game, is that they don't increase the rewards when there is a spike in difficulty. And I really don't get it. Now we have 3 black market tickets every 5 trials since trial 600. So it's 1000 trials that we have the same rewards. It's insane. But they, like from 355, they introduced 1 black market tickets every 5, then at 600 they brought it up to 3, and that's it. 3 it has been since, again, trial 600. It's pretty dumb if you ask me, and especially now because they decided to bring it up to 3 teams. So we used to only need 2 teams, well, only, let's say, and now we have to use 3, but the rewards are still the same. And some of the elements cannot really afford to run 3 teams, because this is the second issue. We don't have enough units for 3 teams. That is completely dumb. I don't know why they decided from 1601 to increase from 2 to 3 teams. They could have waited for 2000, would have been better probably. Or they could have just increased the rewards. It's just stupid. If we look here on my purple trial, that is at the 1635, we have 3 black market. Why not making it, I don't know, 5 or 6? Because with the current state, considering they expanded every 2 patches, so once a month, we have 150 black market tickets per month once you are at this stage, given you can clear them all within the span of 1 month, you should. So you get 150 per month, and that's very low. Now that we have this increase in difficulty, some people might not be able to even get the 150, and that's really stupid. Like, it wouldn't have been unbalanced to just increase it from 3 to 5 or from 3 to 6. That would have been 250 to 300 black market tickets per month, and it's nothing. I mean, it's not like something that will unbalance your whole game, that will mess up your plans. Actually, I think it would make a lot of people happier, and it will bring more people to the game or keep the people into the game, because a lot of players are quitting because of policies like this. Also in adventure, as I mentioned, we have the same rewards for forever. We have the 20 black market tickets per full clear. They should have increased it when they introduced the debuffs, or maybe even when they introduced the 5 teams. I don't know, but for the debuffs, for sure. So from 135 and above, there should have been an increase. And maybe for the release of Xia, so 186, I believe, 186 and above, there should have been another increase, because she's fucking annoying. But there is nothing of the sort, and I don't get it. The issue is that they cannot fix it retroactively now. I mean, they are never going to increase them for all of these past stages. So our only hope is that for the new ones, they will decide to increase the amount, but they will not do it for the past floors, because otherwise they have to give a lot of rewards to people retroactively, and that will lead to some people that are floor 200 and something to receive, I don't know, some 2,000 black market tickets out of the blue, and they definitely don't want to see that. So the only possibility, if they ever understand this point, is that when they add 6 teams in adventure, they will also increase the rewards. That's our only hope. I don't think that's happening. That's just unfortunate. But let me know, guys, what you think about this first issue in the comments. And now let's talk about, well, okay, the second one I kind of briefly touched upon, which is the fact that we don't have enough units on some of these elements. They are so unbalanced. Like yellow, no issues, you can make 3 teams. Blue, kind of no issues if you have work and you can make 3 teams. Purple, kind of tricky, but you can make 3 teams. Red and green, are really, really struggling. Not just for DPSs, that was fixed, I would say, with the Sadness buff. Now you can easily find DPSs. The thing is that you don't have the supports to keep them alive. So that is a problem, and I don't know why they are distributing the unit the way they are. It's really weird and dumb, but what can we do? Like Evelynn should have been green, Sharon should have been green. They keep on releasing units yellow, and all of those are kind of busted. I really don't know. They really like yellow for some reason, but okay. So that was kind of the second issue, the lack of units for some of the elements. That is also kind of a cause for the next issue, and that is you cannot push deficits in trials. Going in trial at the current moment, you cannot go like, I don't know, 400, 500 deficit. That is not possible. It's only possible for yellow. It's only possible for blue. For purple, potentially kind of tricky. For the other two, it's impossible. It's literally impossible. So you can only play around 250, 300, potentially 350 for these elements. You cannot really go above it, and that kind of sucks. So yeah, all the teams we're going to look at are around 200 to 250 deficit. That's the current deficit I'm at. Some people might have even lower deficits. Some people might have 300 to 350. All the things we're going to discuss should still apply. But yeah, if you are 400, 500, and you get to these trials, you can just give up. Except for yellow, you can still clear it. The other ones, you can give up. It's really stupid. But okay, enough about issues. Let's cover the teams I used and also discuss some alternatives. So let's start with yellow. You will see I'm not a 1641 because on Monday I did not make all the clears. Same thing for purple. And on Wednesday I just entirely skipped it. I forgot about it. So red will have to wait. But blue and green, I did all of them. But yeah, okay, that's beyond the point. Let's see the teams I've been running. They are fairly stacked, but you don't need this level of like investment to easily clear yellow. You have a lot of options. So you can see here I have 5 carries. We have Hugo and Augustus in the same team. You can obviously split them. You don't need to play them together. It's just that I have so many yellow units, I just use them together. Second team, we have double Eden. Again, you don't need to play them together. You can also split them if you are really in need. But since we have so many DPSs, I just decided to play them together. And then in the last one, we have Cha. Now, if you only have 3 of these, perfect. You can make 3 teams and put 1 in each. If you only have 2 of them, for the third team, you can run a Irang together with Wangnang Jia. That will work just fine. You can give L to Wangnang. It will be fine, 300 and below. You can one-shot the enemies. Above it is tricky, but as we are saying, it's kind of the level that you are playing at in trials is lower, so 250, 300 deficit is normally where it's at, maybe 350. And Wangnang Jia can perform just fine. But yellow is so popular and the units are so good that I think most people will have probably 3 of these 5 units, and you can easily make the teams. In terms of supports, yellow is also in a good spot because one team can be supported by Sharon, one team can be supported by Bam plus Evan, one team can be supported by Evelynn, potentially if you decided to pull for her, or by Towa. So you have the options. Probably not everyone will have them, especially people that started recently won't have Towa. Most people won't have Evelynn, so you're just with Sharon and Bam plus Evan. Most people also only have Sharon and 0 dupes. So in those cases, you are a bit fucked. But if your deficit is low enough, you can easily run resistances on some of the units and they will tank. So that's fine, I would say. You can easily add a frontline unit, you give them, I don't know, for example, you can take 10 cats. And if your deficit is, I don't know, 250, you can give him Sela, even if you don't have resistances on any other pieces, you can give him a new Sela with slot 4 and slot 5 resistances. That's already 100% resistances just with that. 60 from the Sela set, 40 from Zod 4 and 5, and you're good. And it will be a good frontline unit. And I know people won't have Asensio. He's there, but he's not doing shit. And so you might lack a lot of these options, I know, but you can easily work around it. Let me also see if I use some different comps recently. No, I think I just autoed with the same ones. Maybe, yeah, here I tried to use the chicken. It is viable. The thing is, with the low deficit, Mori basically did the same damage, or I think a bit less. Actually, a bit more. Okay. So in this case, Mori did more damage than him, but it's not relevant. I mean, this guy can deal damage at high deficits because of Sundance. So Sundance is now an insane set. It can easily make you a 3rd DPS, no problem. The issue will be keeping the team alive. Evelynn is at times good enough, but here I have both Mori and Kunagero that have 100% resistances, and I think also the chicken had that. I don't remember which Sundance set I gave him. Yeah, he had the resistances as well, so all of my 4 units had resistances, so they were kind of difficult to kill even without any support. That's why lower deficit you can still do them. You just need to give resistances to the unit. So yeah, keep in mind you can use the chicken with Sundance. It is somewhat viable, not the best, but it can do something. And you can use Wang Nanja as well as an alternative. So you can definitely find out some solutions to the issues, but if you're lacking the supports, it might still be tricky with yellow as well. Then we have purple. For purple, the teams I used are pretty straightforward. We have an Heljo team, we have a Rachel team, and we have a Mashini team. There is nothing much to it. You can use white because we're talking about 300 deficit and below. And you also have Vivi, great option. Now with Sundance, she can deal a ton of damage, so I really like her. I did not really use her in trials. I think I will use them tomorrow to finish it. I will reserve one team to run with Vivi. You can use her. You could use Verdi, but she's kind of stuck in the special move a lot of times, so Sundance won't really help too much. It will be fine if you can keep her alive, but not the best. You can use, obviously, Mashini. Even if she's low dupes, is probably still fine. Sundance doesn't even care about the level of investment of your unit. Just give them a Sundance set, potentially with resistances even, you don't care, and they will do fine. They will do damage at the very least. So that's great. I think Sundance was a great improvement that can help out in this kind of trials. The issues about survivability will remain, but for example, in this first team, as you can see, the only survivability is SSR Yura, and then I have Anna plus Reflejo that if enemies don't have dashes, they would be enough to kind of guarantee the survivability of the backline. And then Heljo is just gonna jump in and destroy everybody. If someone dies for some reason, we have Yura with the revive. So that's kind of the survivability needed here, and you don't need much more. For the second team, we have Icarus, that since we are running resistances on Karaka, and that's it, is going to tank like crazy because of the extra defense and because of the fact that our deficit is again low. If the deficit was higher, this team would struggle a lot more, but we have SSR plus Yura that is going to keep the units alive, so that's fine as well. And there is also white because I didn't know who else to put, but it did absolutely nothing. At best, it was like a magic resistance decrease. I don't even know how it didn't take any damage at all. That was weird, but it is what it is. The deficit is so low, it hardly matters, I'd say. And for the last one, again, as I mentioned, here we have Mashini. You could have had, I don't know, Vivi, Verdi. They would have all worked just fine. You could even run any ranged unit with Sadness. It would be perfectly viable nowadays. So yeah, really not too bad, because we also have, again, Kunagero here to provide this durability. Is not foolproof, but it is enough for this kind of deficit. So these 3 teams are quite solid, and I think also easier to get compared to the yellow teams, so they might even be in a better spot in some scenarios. Then we have red. Now red is one of those that have a lot of issues because, as you can see, the guys like to spam Urek, that counters our friend Gustang. They like to spam Alfine, that counters our friend Gustang. And Revolution Bomb, it's doable with Gustang, it's not a huge deal. But here, the teams I have are a Gustang team, which had to be improved a bit so that it could deal with anything. I had to add Alice, which is not a must on 95% of the fights, but if there is an Alfine, I found this team to be too inconsistent because the Fox deals AoE damage and Gustan died too frequently. I did not like that. So I decided to add Alice. So even if Gustan dies, Alice can clean up and is not a problem. There is a Cherry. To be honest, she doesn't do much in most fights because the deficit is low and stuff dies fairly quickly. We have Mamanak to protect Gustan from the occasional Jinsung or some assassins that will jump on him, so that's great. Or like Datamashini, assassins like that. And then we have Spear Baranak to counter that annoying Urek. Not foolproof, it will take some retries, but yeah, I don't know why Gustan is so countered by all of those blue enemies. It's okay. Then we have a team where I just placed Viol as the carry. I think in this fight I even gave him Sundance, maybe. I think he has, he has Sundance. Is not the best set. I mean, now is probably his best DPS set, but just because L doesn't give him enough damage, his kit is so kind of bad that at the end, basic attacks with the max HP damage from Sundance are more damage. So it is what it is. You can still run L, but it won't be as good as this one. We have Xia for extra survivability just to help when his special move is down. Yellowy, just provide him with extra attack speed. 003 as well is just there for the extra defense shred and to buff a bit more his attack scaling damage. Evankel does absolutely nothing. So if you don't have her, don't worry. You can just add Awakened Drak. You can add, I don't know, whoever you want. It doesn't really matter. She's just there as a frontline unit. She's dealing no damage. She's doing nothing. So it is what it is. You can run a Craptor with Sundance instead of Viol. You can run... Okay, I'm going to say a random name, guys. Don't get mad at me. But you can run Amigo Charts, and it does work. He has 120 attack speed on the special move. It is fairly good. Not gonna lie. I tried it. It is fairly good. So you can do that. It's a bit tricky to keep alive, but you can do that. Really weird, right? Okay. Then we have the last one, which is also quite weird. We have Red Mask Warrior and Albelda. Just those two. Red Mask Warrior deals an absurd amount of damage. Really insane. With Sundance, it works like crazy. And I think I'm running, Resistance Sundance with some Magic Pierce. It was the set I was running on Mashini back in the day, and I gave it to her. It doesn't matter if there is no Pierce, we don't give a shit. We just rely on the 3% max HP from Sundance. And Albelda is here not for the attack increase, mostly for, well, the defense increase because she's running resistances so she can tank a few hits, and also for the hit barrier that Albelda provides and the invincibility that Albelda provides. So to keep Warrior alive. And that works like crazy against a lot of enemies. This team has way less issues than Gustang. It's insane. And if you want to use her in adventure, you can. If your deficit is high, it doesn't matter because again, it's Sundance damage. It's irrelevant the deficit you're playing at. You will have to, again, keep her alive in other ways. Albelda is likely not enough if you're at high deficits. Actually, it's for sure not enough. But her damage will be good. Her crowd control is nice, and she can kind of counter Xia because she has an active skill cooldown pause, similar to Arya and Princess. I forgot she even had it, to be honest. Like if we look at this, let me just open her again. If we go at the very bottom of the passive, you see here that when you apply a status effect to enemies with basic attacks or skills, and basic attacks will spawn an observer that will silence them for 1 second. Then we have this one that will provoke enemies for 6 seconds if you have the revolution. Then we have this one that will stun them for 1 second, and this one that will knock them down for 2 seconds. While they have a crowd control or a status effect on them, their active skill cooldown is paused. That's insane. That's really valuable. So I think I will definitely increase Warion's rank. She deserves a lot more. You can also use support Warion if you want with Sandness as well, and they will work perfectly fine. She has a lot of attack speed and a lot of swiftness, so that will work too. And she has attack speed too, by the way, in the passive here. As you can see, she's very basic attack reliant normally, so that works great with Sandness. I really like this duo. You can add more units. I think I also did in the previous attempts. As you can see here, also there are different enemies. Here we have SSR plus Yura. We didn't care, we just crashed through it. This one, there might be some interesting fights here and there, like Urek, no problem. Like Gustang could have never won this. If you did Gustang Albelda, this was not winnable. Even if the deficit is only, what, 230-ish, it doesn't matter. Gustang could never win this. Then we have this one. We have Garam as well, super easy. We have, let's see, there might be some annoying ones. Okay, we have another Urek here, perfect. Let's see here. At a certain point, I also used more units, I'm sure. Here we just have Kun and Heljo. Not the easiest matchup, but still super easy for Warion. This one was garbage. Like, I'm showing all of this, but as you can see, the teams were always pretty much the same. Viol team, Gustan team, and here a Warion team. And here she was facing Yama. Yama is a bit annoying, but he did nothing here. We could just destroy him super easily. Here we have another Yura, fine. I think 1610 was crazy in terms of matchup. But I also added a random unit that did nothing. So we have here, okay, nothing important. And if we go to 1610, this matchup I added Kasano. It did absolutely nothing. But look at the enemies. We have Tank Hats, we have Revolution Bomb, and with this kind of comp, no way Gustan could have won. And there is also Dolwon that is going to hit you regardless, but as you can see, no issues whatsoever. And then Revolution Bomb just one-tapped my Kasano. Fine, doesn't matter. So yeah, guys, what can we say? It's just insanity. I think probably in the earlier stages, I just also used 5-unit teams. And here I removed Alice because there was no Alphine. Afterwards, once I found Alphine as an enemy, I just added Alice to this team and then never removed her. But it can work even without Alice, obviously. It's just some enemies will be tricky and will kill Gustan, so you need somebody else that can stay alive. And Alice with Abgrund is an absolute beast. So yeah, as you can see, you can work around it, mainly because the deficit is low. You can also run beta, but I did not use him on purpose because I know a lot of people don't have him, but it would be way, way better than Viol, like not even comparable. So just run beta if you have it maxed. It is insane. And in the last team, you can run, again, one of the two Warions, preferably Red Mask or both. You can run Amigo charts, perfect. You can run a Craptor, kind of. Is not the quickest at casting attacks, like basic attacks, but is okay-ish. So you have some options. Overall, that's what I used. And yeah, that's more or less all. Those are your options. I will say red does not have a lot of supports, but at very least Shia can help one team, or so ability is not foolproof. So you need to support somebody that can stay alive on their own. Then we have Alice. Sorry, I don't know why I said Alice. I wanted to say Albelda. That can kind of support one, but again, not 100% up. So you will need the unit that she's linked to have some sort of ability of her own. In this case, we're just relying on resistances. And then we have Mamanak, that can kind of keep alive one unit. She will struggle with survivability herself. In this case, she's just hanging around because resistances still kind of work. And yeah, that's it. Cherry is also a great DPS option. Here I'm running with Gustan, but There is no real reason to. You could split her in a different team. The issue is that we don't have reliable grouping in red. So if you do split her and use as a solo DPS, she will feel lacking at lower deficits. She will be fine at higher deficit because she can deal a ton of damage then. But at lower ones, she won't feel as good. So kind of up to you. Will be tricky to keep her alive. Will be also kind of tricky to group enemies so that her tornado can hit multiple ones. But yeah, red, if you have all the units and you leverage Sundance, you can do it easily, I would say. This was very, very easy, very, very comfortable. So I was definitely happy about it. Then we have blue. Blue is also in a tricky spot, mainly because it does not have any relevant SSR unit that can run Sundance. There is Hatling, kind of garbage. I tried him. It was weaker than Paracule. I used them both in the same team. It was stuck in animation a lot. Paracule, on the other hand, used a lot more basic attacks. So if you have to pick one, use Paracule, which is meme if we think about it, but it is actually decent. It's actually decent. And the other option in SSR could be Kun Ran with Sundance as well. I tried with Upgrund, there was no damage whatsoever. With Sundance, there was some damage. Still not a big fan. It was not really dealing a lot, but it could be viable. So blue is in a bad spot when we consider the SSR DPS units. Even with Sundance, your best bet is again probably Paracule, and that's so stupid. But okay. In terms of SSR Plus, though, is in a good spot. You have Dawon, you have Revolution Bomb that can easily carry, and also both of them have decent survivability. There is also Kaiser that with Sundance now can delete enemies super easily. Just give her a Sundance with resistance, and she will do just fine. Same thing with XSR Plus Kaiser. So if you have some of these, you're good. If you have Urek, you're good for another team. And there is not much else to say. In terms of survivability, it is lacking a bit. We have Okni and we have Alfine, and that's about it. Garam in some scenarios with her special moves and stance can work, but it is not really comparable to other survivability supports, so it's just whatever. Frontline units, we are okay, mainly Datamashini. Then if you have Yama leveled up, it can tank really well at this type of deficits. If you have XSR plus Urek, it can also kind of tank. If you have Escanor, it can kind of tank, not really that much. But yeah, the DPS units that we have here are tanky enough on their own that they don't really need too much. Probably the ones that need the most are the two Kaisers. And I also used them with Alfine in the previous matchups. I just tried to move them around a bit. Let me see if I have any interesting clears somewhere else. As you can see here, I used Revolution Bomb with Yama, which I really like as a combo. And then I added the two Kaiser with Alfine. Let me see if I have also some clears with Paracule, maybe not, or maybe in some of the previous ones. I think I tried it. I'm not sure if I managed to actually clear one. Maybe yes. So yeah, blue, okay, here is also Atling. So blue is in a decent spot if you have the SSR plus units and Urek, XSR plus, EX Urek. If you don't, you are struggling a bit more. So here I tried, as you can see, with Hatling and Paracule. Paracule did the most damage. Yama at this type of deficit can still do something, so it did some damage here. And Hatling was really ridiculous. He's weak as fuck, but okay. So yeah, and Hatling was also buffed by the ship. Paracule was not, but that's beyond the point. They were both dealing damage only with Sundance. So yeah, viable, can work, not the best. Definitely not comfortable. So yeah, these were my teams, and the units I mentioned are kind of the alternatives for DPSs. There is really not much else, unfortunately. You can also use Quietro if you want, not with Sundance. but it can deal okay-ish damage. But I would only consider him if you're around 200. If you're 250 and above, probably not. So yeah, that's blue. Kind of rough, kind of rough, kind of rough. Then we have green. Now, green is also really garbage because against green, they like to spam Xia Xia. Xia Xia is already one of the most annoying enemies ever. So here we have actually some good SSR DPS units, namely Mulov and Ju. Ju is an absolute monster because she also has Sora ability. She has an insane conceal that she uses a lot, and that's really good. So Ju with Sundance deals a ton of damage. Really insane unit. Mulov, on the other hand, does not have the Sora ability part, but his damage is okay. I would say not as high as Ju, but it's okay. It can definitely work. So I added Mule to Tromray's team just to supplement a bit the damage there. Then we have a very simple team with just Iwa and Princess. Those two alone can win. Then I added Ren because at this deficit, Ren is unkillable. So I wanted an additional frontline unit. And then we have Zahard because, yeah, why not? I mean, it's going to provide the active skill cooldown reduction 2 times. Woohoo, wow, insane. Yeah, garbage. But okay. And then on round 3, we have a very random team. I think I changed it a lot of times. It didn't really matter. And the star of this team is just Ju. You could run Sundance on Yonhi if you ever. It will work okay, but I didn't have enough Sundances, so I ended up removing it from her. But if you want, you can do it. I mean, it's not bad. If we see here the damage, Ju did all the damage. I will say Evankel was a bit tricky at times because in the previous stages I was running Mulov as the solo DPS here instead of Ju, and Ju was with Tromray. And when I faced Evankel, it was a bit tricky because she was always in the special move. I couldn't really kill her, and she ended up destroying my team. Against Ju, after my whole team is kind of dead or whatever, she can go conceal for a very long time. Evankel won't do shit because she doesn't have a target, and Ju will kill her in those 10 seconds she concealed. So overall, Ju is the preferred pick if you have to keep one on her own. I have Arya. I've not used her here. I think I used her maybe 1630. That's when I was still using Mule. Yeah, I think this one was the last time I used Mule on his own, and it was against Evankel, if I remember correctly. No, this was not Evankel. Probably also this team I couldn't really clear with just him. Let me see. Let me see which one it was. This one is still with Arya. Because I was getting a bit pissed at him also when there was a Jinsung. He was getting one tapped and stuff like that. It was getting a bit annoying. Another one, I think when I was facing, yeah, probably this Evankel, I was like, okay, if you cannot even beat Evankel, I'm done. So I then removed Arya and I swapped Ju out. No, okay, still there. Then probably was 1635. Maybe this one was the last one. Let me see. Yeah, from 36, I decided to just use Ju here and ditch entirely Arya. Yeah, also here there was again another Evankel. And this guy is kind of struggling against Evankel, so I was pissed at him and I decided to add him in Tromray's team. Which, by the way, you don't need all of this firepower, I'd say. It's mostly that it will depend on which enemies you're facing. If Tromray can counter them, it will deal the most damage. If he cannot, because they don't have attack buffs or barriers, then Ju will deal the most damage. In this case, they were destroyed fairly quickly by Tromray. One unit was hit by Yasracha, which I never repositioned, by the way. I was mostly going auto. Also, I think in the next one is still in the same place. I just replaced Mule. So I don't really know which target I'm picking, to be honest. Here, Mulov did the most damage. It will depend. At times, also Calavan will deal a ton of damage. It really depends. It really varies. Also here, Calavan did more damage than Yasracha and Tromray. Again, really dependent on the matchup. And like the deficit is low, so Calavan can do stuff. So yeah, this is kind of the team. But as I mentioned, you don't need Yasracha maxed. Probably don't even need Yasracha. You kind of need Tramray a little bit. It definitely helps. Caliban would be a great tank, but any tank can work at this deficit. You can easily run Tank and Dorsey. That would be fine. And we also have Yuri. She's there for Myongol. I'm running her with a resistance Myongol. Doesn't really work that well, to be honest. It's kind of garbage. But it does something every now and then. You don't need her. If you just have Chomray, Mulov, and you go with a Tank and Dorsey, you will be fine for the most part. Second team, as I said, you can just go Princess, Anniversary Iwa. The other two are totally unnecessary. And also, you don't even have to go Bari on this unit. You can just go, in this case, I'm running 2-piece Rihanna, 2-piece Mago. That's the stuff I normally run in Adventure. I did not change it because she's normally with Sharon, and in that case, that combination is perfect. In this case, she's not with Sharon, but she's basically the only one that can die. And Anniversary Iwa can easily keep her alive, so we don't care. She didn't even take damage here. Insane. And the last one, as I mentioned, is just some random units. Here we have a regular Aurora. I just tried him. We have Shane, just as a frontline unit that can tank somewhat. Yonhee, if you give her Sandence, she will deal damage. If you don't, she won't do shit, but she's there. And also tried, okay, here I used Arya. Probably there was some annoying enemy. I think Jinsun was messing up some stuff there, so Arya carried. If we go 1639, I removed again Arya. We have some weak enemies here, and Ju did everything. And in the last fight, again, Child and Dorsey, she did nothing. Yon, he did nothing. Nobody here is really important. The core here is Ju, then add some random units. So Ju and Mew Love, super important, guys. You should have them. And then Princess, hopefully you have at least her. If you don't and you have Arya, great. If you don't have either, then you're probably not even at this stage. You're only at the 2-team ones. And then you can use Chomray plus Mule in one and Ju in the other. That's what I would do. Okay, if you have any questions, obviously, feel free to ask them down below. But I think that's more or less an overview of all the trials, which teams I run, and what you can do. Let me know again if you have any questions, or if you'd like me to cover this topic in more detail, or maybe if I forgot to mention something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!